I seldom enjoy using Eastern words because they confuse the West. The words I do use and have to use because the West, because it's a psychological culture, the West has no words for that, for anything that's real. And the words I do use are, one is karma, which means the repetition of the past as existence. And another is tantra, from tantric, representing the reaching of God consciousness through the love of woman. And the other is, the one I want to talk about now is Shakti. Now, if we are looking for the power of God in existence, the power, that which moves things in existence, that which is out of existence but comes into existence, we have to understand the word Shakti. Because we're such a shallow Western society, we just don't have any words for these. Perhaps they'd call it the id or some other Freudian or Jungian expression, but Shakti is a good word because it doesn't mean anything to the West, and we can convey something of its power because it doesn't have any preconcepts, but if you've heard it before it will have preconcepts. Shakti is the power of the universe, and Shakti is the power of woman, or the female principle. Man does not have that power. His power is the power that brings Shakti into existence. Shakti cannot come into existence as such and join man without man bringing her in. Shakti, of course, is God, the power of God, the power of love. And I'm talking about the power of love, not the playing around with it, but the power of love. And that divine love is waiting in every woman, waiting forever, because it doesn't go anywhere, it's not going anywhere, it's just there. It just waits without waiting for an intimation that sufficient love or power is present in existence for it to enter the woman and come down through the woman and to the man. For Shakti is irresistibly compelled and attracted to the male energy, which is its opposite or its partner. But it's a power, Shakti. So what it means really is that the female energy, Shakti, is the power of the universe, if there is such a thing as a universe. It is the power behind all things. But as I say, it cannot come into existence without the call of man, without the power of man, because they are both equal powers. But I'd say they are equal, but they're not equal because Shakti is fundamental and man is man is necessary for Shakti to come into existence. She cannot exist without man. But I wouldn't like to put man above it. I think Shakti is a greater power than the power in man. Although they are the power of God, because there's only the power of God, but God divides itself. And so this Shakti is waiting in every woman, waiting to come into every woman, and every woman knows it's there because all she wants to do is be consumed. I'm talking about a real woman, not a woman that's mixed up and wants excitement and sexual excitement. I'm talking about when a woman is still in between and knows that she, as they say, I've got so much to give, or I just want to be consumed, I want to disappear in love and be burnt forever. This sort of thing is her desire. for Shakti to come through her. She is being the means, the conduit for this non-existent power to come into existence. And that is why it's so important for a man to be able to divest himself of all his self, divest himself of self as much as possible, of self-consideration, of selfishness, so that Shakti can come in through the woman. And of course the woman, when Shakti comes in, becomes so powerfully beautiful that the man then has to be able to accommodate that extraordinary beauty. And that is one of the difficulties of man. One of his great problems is that the more beautiful a woman becomes, the more difficult it is for him to retain his orgasm. That is, not to have an orgasm. Because as soon as a woman becomes beautiful, in the sense that I'm talking about, in the first sense, as soon as a woman opens up her whole body, her whole psyche, her whole being, and opens up to a man, she becomes extraordinarily beautiful because she starts to release something, the Shakti. Something comes through her. And as soon as it does, it affects man, has a tremendous effect on man. Because that's her pleasure. And her pleasure is what makes man come. In the first instance, his own self-seeking pleasure makes him come. But I'm talking about once he's matured enough to love her, to start loving her, and for her to reach a stage where she truly opens up, and every woman reaches that stage sometime or other where she really opens up, and it seems inevitable at that time that the man comes. And so because of this, it's very common in our society, it's very common for women to have a subconscious, not a fear of that, but a subconscious recognition that she can't open up too much, because as soon as she does, he'll lose it. And so that's the first thing we men have to be careful of, as much as possible, to not take the selfish option and come when the woman opens to us. And so we have to practice that. And the only way you can practice that is to give up your fantasies, to give up your imagination, because what makes you come in the first instance, apart from the pleasure of the woman, is the pause, the lack of speed, which allows you to imagine what's happening, and bang, you'll come. But as you mature more and more and are able to overcome that, you then have this extraordinary pleasure that comes through woman when she starts to open up. And so to avoid her having an inhibition, you have to be able to more and more to consciously take the beauty of her, to stand the beauty of her in your penis. You're going to be able to stand that through your whole body. And what that means is you've got to be more conscious. You can't have the slightest movement of mind, because the mind likes to imagine where it is. If you imagine that you're in the woman's private part, you're gone, you're finished, any time. As a man often comes, as he's approaching the woman, he comes before he enters her, because he imagines what he's doing. Instead of doing what he's doing, he imagines what he's doing first, and he loses it. And so to stand a woman's beauty requires increasing consciousness. And that means, as I say, no imagination, just the sheer fact, the sheer truth, to be what I am doing, not to think about what I'm doing, not to have any aberration, not to have any fantasy, but to be what I am doing. And that is, I am loving and I am receiving the pleasure that comes through woman through loving her. I am receiving her pleasure, for nothing pleases man more than woman's pleasure. To begin with, he pleases himself, his own pleasure, so he goes for the orgasm or he goes for conquests. That's his own pleasure. But as he becomes a man, he then realizes that it is the pleasure of woman that he enjoys. The more that he can give her pleasure, the more he is complete in his own being. And he's to give her more and more pleasure. And of course she herself also has to be able to take this pleasure, and that requires her to not have any movement, any emotional movement, any psychological movement that must disappear from her too. She must be purely her body, one with her body, so that she also does not come too quickly or too often. Now we are talking about the power of the universe. If you can tell me some other power, I'd like to know what it is. I mean, I tell you that words are simple. Life is simple. Why is every man on earth thinking about woman? Never occurred to anyone to ask that question. Why is every woman thinking about man? Because in that is the power of the universe. Why does every man want to be a god? Meaning he wants to be the gift to woman. Every man wants to be woman's gift. As a lover, as to love her. He wants to be the power to have woman love him and for him to love her. Why does every man want this? Of course, man gets perverse about that and is cruel to woman out of his need to be power over her, so he then, because he's not man enough, he has to reverse to cruelty to feel the sense of power. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about why does man desire above everything on earth? It doesn't matter what it is, his yacht or anything. What does he desire more than anything else? Woman. But he is afraid. He's afraid that it means giving up his independence. And of course, an independent man cannot bring Shakti in. He just can't do that. She demands absolute and complete surrender, his complete surrender to God or love, same thing. So that's what's missing on this earth. And now and again, she comes, and you know it. The woman knows it, and the man knows it, that something extraordinary has happened. But the thing is for her to come continuously, whenever she is called. That is, whenever the love is made, for her to be there, to come. Because that is God's pleasure, or Shakti pleasure, is to come into existence where there is sufficient love and sufficient self-surrender to make that possible. Now, I don't know what other power you'd want. I don't know what other power everybody's talking about. And of course it is Shakti that enables, let's say, an Eastern master who is celibate, or so I've heard, but I'm not too sure of that, but celibate, that a man does realize God within, the God within his own being, the being within his own being. He realizes that. And that is another aspect of Shakti, because it cleans his mind right out. It cleans everything out. And he knows the love of God with such an intensity that it disappears and he disappears, and all he has is a state of no feelings anymore. No feelings. It burns all his feelings out, which means all his emotion, all his negativity. It burns him out. And his intellect is informed of the truth that is beyond all words. And that is the power of Shakti as the realization of God. So one is the realization of God in existence through the love of man and woman, and the other is the realization of God out of existence through the power of self-surrender and one-pointed devotion to the inward going life, which eventually brings me to the source of all power, which is my own being, in my own being. But the easiest way available for us in the West is the simple way that I have given you, the love of man and woman. That's the simplest way. The other way is directed by divine grace, where it usually requires great suffering, either physically or great love, one-pointed love, great suffering in having everything taken. But there's no need in the love between man and woman of having everything taken. There's no need to suffer in the love between man and woman. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes a partner is not right for you. And you have to be able to see when a partner is not right for you. And you have to endeavour to persevere with it, to see whether it's you or the other, or whether you are loving enough or they are loving enough. But eventually it may be that although you've been together and enjoyed much love, that you're not really right for each other to go on to the next stage. Quite possible. Happens all the time. For one partner might take you so far, but cannot take you over the next line. So in that sense, love is forever, because each one that we love, there's still love there. But not that particular love is not necessarily forever, because there is a limit to how far a man or a woman can go. A man can take you and a woman can go. There is a limit. And that's why so many people have to split up and break up, because they're not making the right music anymore. And although they love each other, they do not love each other enough. And that's the key word. Enough. Are you loved enough? Are you loving enough? That's the key word, enough. Because we all love each other, we know that. All partners love each other, and they stay together for 25 years, and they say to me, but we love each other. And that's a big yawn to me. Because you don't love each other enough, or you wouldn't be speaking to me like that. But being in the Western world where nobody speaks the truth, everybody knows the truth but is scared to death of it, and so they don't speak the truth. They say they love one another, instead of getting the word right and say, we do not love one another enough, obviously. Then you get a sense of what is right, don't you? Because if you don't love enough, what's the point? But there's someone for you. If you're prepared to love, life will bring someone for you. And although it might not last, just love, but don't get attached. If you get attached to the one you love, then you suffer when they have to go. So what we're talking about, or what I'm talking about, is the whole ultimate of man and woman's love is to bring Shakti, which is a divine love, into the love, so that the people disappears, the persons disappear, and it is the divine lovers that love through the body. We are the means of that love, of the divine lovers, which is he and she. And for that I must disappear. I am certainly there in the sense that it is my body and I am there, but psychologically I am not there. I have surrendered myself to the divine lover and the divine lovers, and only then can I know this extraordinary power of the divine love of God, the divine lover itself. Now that's what we're talking about. And you all know that anyway. Because why do you love so much? Why do you want to love so much? Why? What are you loving for? Why are you loving each other? Just to go to bed every night? Are you loving for that? No, you've got a purpose behind your love. And if you're an older person, an older woman, say, who doesn't have a man with her, she still has her own being. She still has the Shakti behind her. And if she loves God, that means if she loves me, the being inside, if she loves that, if she loves it, then the Shakti power will inform her, and she will be free of pain and suffering, and her long life in which she has loved and known the joys and pains of love in her long life, it doesn't matter anymore. It all disappears in her love of God or her love of it, her love of the one within her. So nobody is limited. It does require one-pointedness. Now that's the pressure that's on us who are living the spiritual life today, or at least who come to me. The pressure is on to be one-pointed. Woman does it by the love of God. And I find more and more women declaring in their different ways that their love of God, their love of it. For woman is the handmaiden of the Lord. It is true, she is the handmaiden of the Lord. She waits on the Lord, she loves the Lord, she is immediately there for the Lord, which is God. And that's her heart's desire, to serve the one, holy one, God. That's what it is to be a woman. And then that knowledge, that one-pointedness of love, manifests in her life according to the holy will, God's will, the will. And nobody can say what that is, but she will be looked after by this power. So woman is more nothing than man. And because if you've heard me say woman is 100% love and man is 90% love with something to do. It is man that has to love woman. That's how it's done. He has to love her. And why shouldn't he love her? That's all he thinks about anyway. What are we talking about? My goodness, why do I have to say this all the time? What he loves most is woman. What he's afraid of most is woman. But the fact is, the fundamental fact is that he loves woman. So 10%, his 10% of what to do, instead of building a world of companies and buildings and roads and all those things, which is so important to him, the fundamental fact is that his 10% is to love woman and to look after her, to care for her in the way that I am talking about, in bringing her closer and closer to God and giving her the pleasure that has no self in it, so that she can know, she can realize what she is. I am nothing but the love of God. That's all I am. And that way she doesn't get lost in the man. She must love God first. Any woman that I have loved, she has inside of her first the love of God, not the love of me. Although the love of me is often the same as the love of God in her. But the love of God comes first. And then she can love man. But she cannot love man first and think about God after. It has to be it first. Then she can love man and not be attached to him, because her first love will be that which is beyond all men, which is within her. So you women without man, don't be lonely. Know that it doesn't matter how old you are, that this Shakti power is inside of you, and you can realize it by being stiller and stiller and not giving in to your mind and emotions and thinking about things any more than you have to. So man is the means. And in northern India, if you've ever been there, I don't know whether they've destroyed them since I was there, but in many, many places there is these concrete casts of what they call the lingam and the yoni. And so you see a penis sticking out of or sticking into a sticking out, I think they have it, over yoni, the female part. Now we in the West, we're so superficial we wouldn't have a clue what that means. The psychiatrists wouldn't have a clue what that means. They'd put all sorts of interpretations on it. And they'd say, like, I think Freud said or something, that sex is behind everything. Well, it's true. Sex is behind everything, but love is behind sex. And it is a conversion of sex into love. Conversion of the raw God into the God of love. That's what yours and my job is. For goodness sakes, what's the spiritual life about? What is it about if it's not converting sex into love? Because sex is all there is. Until it turns to love. So it's already recognized in that one of those oldest of true religions, when that religion was true, of the power between man and woman, represented in India in several ways. The tantric way is a part of it, and the power of the lingam to bring about the power in the yoni. And that is worshipped, or was worshipped, whether it's worshipped now, we're worshipped in sex, but it was worshipped as a power. And as you have heard in my Making Love tapes, my new edition, which I suggest everybody have, even though you've got the old ones, there is nothing like man worshipping at the entrance to woman's private part. For that represents the gates that he must go through. And if he is perceptive enough and not sexual, he will see in that part his heart's desire. But of course it's not in the part at all, but the part symbolizes the place that is hidden away, that he loves to gaze upon, that he loves to enter, the thing above all that he loves to enter most and gaze upon most. That is his way back home to freedom, back to the womb of life. But he doesn't see that. In the West, I don't seem to have any idea of this. I don't know what they do. I don't know what the psychiatrists say. I've seen all the movies, and I've never, it's about the closest I get to any psychiatrist, but I never hear them talking realistically about love and sex and truth. What do they say about this tremendous, wonderful desire in man? They say, well, it's just to get back to the mother, to get back inside the womb. Something like that, they'd say. But do you believe that? Or do you think it's possible that the womb is the womb of God, and that woman represents the womb of God, the chamber of God, the flame of God flames in her, and that we men can't resist endeavouring to get back into the flame of God? Consumed, for myself to be consumed forever in that fire, so that I am no longer myself. I am just the divine love that is possible in a man's body and in a woman's body. So all these things are ignored by our Western culture, unless they make a religion of them, like these people who say they practice Tantra and all this, which I've struck all around the world. It's ridiculous. A Tantric teacher is made by God. That's all. And that is, Tantra is the love of God to the point of self-destruction, complete self-obliteration. And what is left is the love of God, and the love of God then makes love. Okay then, so would anyone like to ask me a question, please? Yes, Philip?
Seems that where I'm at in relation to the woman is that I'm looking
that she's suggesting to you that you don't love her enough. Tell me, do you love the pleasure of her?
Yes.
Is there anything like the pleasure of her to love her? Physically, I'm talking about. Do you love that pleasure?
Yes.
Well, is it a pleasure to be with that body that has so much pleasure in it?
Very much.
Very much. Now, does she want you to love her personality or something else about her? What does she want you to love? What is there about woman to love?
Me, it's woman to love.
Yes, there is woman's body to love. And inside that body is the power that the woman is, or the woman has realized, not necessarily consciously, but in her flesh, is the power, this Shakti power, this God power in her. But it's inside her body. And it doesn't have any personality, and it doesn't have any wanting, it doesn't have any trying, and really it doesn't have any tomorrows. No fear of tomorrow, because it gives up to now. So the important thing is to love a woman's body, and that brings you in touch with how much she has of this power inside her flesh. And if she has enough power, you won't want to leave her body at all, except as you have to by karma, and do what you've got to do. So I think the whole world has sort of got it wrong about what there is to love about woman. The thing to love about woman is her body. And then in that love, you find the real woman in there.
In me, it's that she doesn't love me enough.
In me, it seems she does not love me enough. For she should love the delight that you give her. She should love the delight that you give her so much with your lingam and your body and your innocence and your purity, because she would see the purity in you, that she could not help but love you, because she sees the purity in you. And she loves the pleasure that you give her with your lingam, but you can only give her that sort of pleasure according to your purity and innocence, what you've left behind, Philip. And there are, all that you've left behind, the doubts and fears and yesterdays and all those things that you have left behind.
Well,
But there's different gradations of that.
They're the things that have been coming up.
There are things that have been coming up that you have not left behind.
Fear and doubt.
That's right. You have not left those behind yet, but you've left a big chunk behind, as you did. And so it is for woman to see the purity in a man. That's what she loves. There's nothing like that she looks at you and says, you are beautiful and you are innocent. There's nothing just quite like that. And that's what we're working in the spiritual life, aren't we, Philip? Of divesting ourselves of that which would interfere with that. She has to be able to see my purity, my godhead, or whatever it is, in each of us. That's why it's so important for us to leave behind all our yesterdays and all our past, as much as possible.
Emotional disturbance in me, as far as I can see, seems to do with me feeling like she doesn't love me enough.
Yes, the emotional disturbance in me feels as though in me that she does not love me enough.
And yet I've had to have a look at that I'm not loving her enough.
Yet I've had to have a look at that I'm not loving her enough. Well, do you always want to be with her, Philip? Do you love being with her so that you always want to be with her?
Yes, I would like to.
All the time.
Yes.
Well then, if that is true, then that's the first thing about loving her enough. And then you love the pleasure that she gives you and that you are able to give her in her body. And the more pleasure that you can give a woman in her body, in the sense of love, because she knows that you truly love, the more she loves you. So it's a very fine thing, isn't it, this gradation as we go further and further up towards the non-existent in love. For it's a great long line like this, a great long ramp that we're all travelling up. I would not say that you didn't love her enough. She'd have to. Does she say that to you?
In a certain way.
Then I would say to her, how can I love you more? It's no good her saying you should know. She should endeavour to help you and say how you can love her more. What do I need to do? What do I need to do for you? Which is for me to love you more.
What do I do with the other side of the sense of her not loving me?
Well, I think you just got to have this rather intelligent and wonderful conversation about, don't worry about the other side. Don't worry about that. If she can tell you how you're not loving her enough, then you will know that you are not loving her enough, and she's telling you how you will. And if you can love her enough, then she'll love you enough. Why don't you work on that basis? But I think she's got to tell you how you're not loving her enough. If what you've said to me, that you love to be with her and you love the pleasure that she gives you and that you can give her.
Yeah.
I
To me it seems like a vicious circle, because what is there is that she will say, because I won't give up my emotion.
Well, there you go, because you won't give up your emotions. She's told you.
Yeah. And yet my emotion is about the sense of...
No. Your emotion is a feeling, and it's not true at all. And you must give it up. You must give it up for her, for the love of her, or the love of Shakti, or the love of it. You must give up your emotions. So what are you emotional about? Does she ask you that too? I'm sure she would. What are you emotional about?
Well, that's what I just said. It seems to me that I'm emotional because...
No, you're not emotional because she doesn't love you enough. Your emotions come from the past. Something that you're holding on to, something that you're not letting go of, something that you're justifying that's in you, something that you don't want to give up. That's what that emotion comes from. No, that emotion stands between you and her, and therefore you think that she's not loving you enough because it's standing, her radiance is coming at you, and this emotion is diffusing it, and therefore you can't feel her full love. Oh, no.
This is what I can't see. I can't see what...
What is it that makes him emotional? Look, he's the woman here now.
Yes.
Would she speak to me? I don't want to embarrass her. Lorraine, is it? Yes, Lorraine, what's this fundamental emotion in him? I want you all to hear this, because this is very important to Shakti, man and woman.
What it seems to me is Philip asks me how he can love me more. And when I go to tell him that a lot of emotion comes up in him, that I have no right to tell him.
That you have no right to tell him what?
How he can love me more.
Well, that's a bit perverse, isn't it? Philip, see, there is something. Is he afraid that you might take everything from him? Is that what he's afraid of? I suspect that's so, that he would lose his manhood, his everything, if he truly loved you. I suspect that's where the emotion comes from. He is threatened by that, and much as he loves you, and much as the man loves the truth, I don't doubt that, but there's a threat to everything that man considers most dear to him, his manhood, his everything, in the act of loving utterly and completely someone. I think so, Philip. And if you ask her how you can love her more, you must listen and not justify or answer back in any way whatever. You must just stand there innocent, like a child, and listen, not justify.
I could recognise that what the Ranger said was to do with my lack of trust.
Yes, to do with my lack of trust of woman from his past experience, which he puts onto the present woman, who is not his past experience, but she is the present and immediate. We put the past onto that, and we hold back a little bit, and we get, the more she wants me to love her, the more emotional I get, because it's too dangerous, because I've been there before. Seems to be the cause, yeah. Okay. It's good that you see that. Man has to creep into the place that he loves most, symbolically. And you cannot pass those gates of woman's beautiful love. You cannot pass those gates while you hold on any of your manhood. Now we have to look at the word, don't we? Manhood. A hood is a blinding thing, isn't it? A hood is something that hides what you are like a mask. And so we men hang on to our manhood instead of being our godhead, don't we? And we don't even really understand the word. Manhood, for goodness sake, save me from manhood. The ignorance of manhood. The blindness of it. Who is macho and justifies and thinks it knows something with its big blinding hood on. And when you take the hood off, there stands the man naked and not afraid of love. Every man has to lose his manhood so that he can gain his godhead. Okay, then, let us go into this place of love, which is this place where the God within, this God immanent, isn't it? This is God immanent in here, meaning within, this being, and it's so easy to get there, especially in our company here, where we only talk about love and God and truth and death and life. It's so easy because we have opened up to this wonderful state of intelligence. But I have to know that it is nothing. It's just a place inside of me that best is described as a place of peace or rest or stillness, and particularly no thought, no interpretation, nothing but what it is, the immediate knowledge or sense that this is right, this is good, or I love this and I do not know what it is, but I love it and I am one with it. It is me. This is God immanent. God within. It within. This is what I have been looking for, immanently within all my life. And here it is, so close, immediate, now. Now remaining in this place, there's stillness and silence, this place of consciousness. Open the eyes and enter the world of awareness. No problem, there you are in consciousness, in stillness. And here you are in awareness, where everything moves, and where all forms are, and there are no forms in me, in being. Now, would anyone like to ask me a question, please? Philip and Lorraine, if you come to my room after, I'll speak to you if you'd enjoy that. All right? Thank you. Now, anybody like to ask me a question? Yes, this lady?
Janina. My name's Janina.
Janina. Yes.
Yeah,
Is this your first time with me, Janina?
no, I've been seeing you for a few years.
Have you? Have you spoken to me before?
No, my first time was in London. I've been coming to Slovakia now.
Yes, I see. Yes, Janina.
I've got a bit of emotion coming up.
I understand, yes. Take it easy.
I've got a lot of hate in me for me,
Yes.
and I'm enjoying living on her. And I don't feel like I live with a man again.
No, no.
And I've given a lot of love in my life, and I've given the opposite too, but I don't feel at this point I can live with a man.
I don't feel at this point I can live with a man. I have a lot of hate in me towards man. I've given a lot of love in my time, and I've given a lot of the other as well. Now, you really have to get rid of the hate if you can, and you don't have to live with a man. You don't have to live with him, but you do need to be loved by a man, but not sexed by a man. And there's nothing wrong with that, but so you don't have any problem as long as you are in command and you know what you don't want from your experience. Now, the reason you hate man is because of all the things he's done to you through his sexual nature. Because sex is inconstant and forceful and premeditated and all the other things. That's why you hate man, because of the way he's treated you without loving you, although that's not to say there wasn't love at one stage in your relationship, but his sexual nature took over and either betrayed you or made you feel betrayed, and that you gave as much love as you could, but you didn't get back what you gave, you thought you gave. But I think it's time to call that all quits. And no need to hate man, because that's an attachment. If you hate man for what he did to you, then you hold on to the attachment. You're attached emotionally to what he did to you. And you can't be free because you've got this baggage in your chest and your stomach. And you can't have that. No more. For you, Regina, no more. And you, a woman, then you must know that the divine Shakti power is in you. You are woman, and as every woman, I mean, you're the only woman in the whole universe. You're she. And hate and fear and those sort of things, just cut it off. You can't get in touch with your own reality, in other words. So they've got to go, and that's quite easy for you. Really, you must give up all your prisoners. You've heard me say that, haven't you? Right? And we carry our prisoners in our chest, don't we? Our stomach, and then they rise up to our chest. And here we have a cage down here, a bamboo cage, and they're all rattling it, and they're all in there, all the prisoners, mother, father, and ex-lovers and everything. And of course they demand that they be thought about, because everyone in prison wants to be thought about sometime or other, even to be hated. They'd rather be hated than not thought about. So you give them life. By thinking about them or hating them or giving them any emotion at all, any recognition, gives your prisoners life. when the thing is not to give them any recognition at all, but to say, and I really mean this to you, Janina, from now on, be gone. Be gone. I'm not holding you anymore. I'm not going to be a host for you anymore. They've been sucking on you and sucking and sucking. Be gone. Now, I am available for love. I don't have to live with a man. I'm free. Why should I have to live with a man if I'm not moved to? I don't suggest you live with a man, but I do suggest that should a man come to you with sufficient love in him, and that can happen if you get rid of your hate and your prisoners and your dislike of him, and you just don't put the past on the present, that can happen. Someone can come to you and love you. And that's very important for woman, to be physically loved by man. Even if it doesn't last, it doesn't matter. She must not go in expecting it to last forever. She must know every day this might end, every day, and not be upset about that prospect, because life's like that. You could die, he could die, apart from everything else. But if he loves you and loves to be with you and hold your hand and be with you, and you felt that there was enough love in him, why wouldn't you make love with him? Why wouldn't you? Because you're free. You can do that. But you must not fall in love with him, and you must not have expectations of it, and then you will see when you make love whether it suits you or not. But you must not fall in love with him, with his words or anything else. You must retain your distance, although you give everything, but you retain your distance because you love it first. Now that's not a hard number for you. You're an attractive woman, and you must not cut yourself off. You're in command. Okay? Don't fear. Don't be afraid. You're in command. No man can do anything to you unless you give him the okay and live with him, or give him the okay and put up with his nonsense. You don't have to put up with man's nonsense anymore. You don't have to. It's a myth spread by our mothers and their grandmothers. No. But you have to be strong. Okay? Now let your prisoners go. All of you, won't you? It's like, well, I'll talk about forgiveness after the break. But you have to let them go. You've got to hold on to nothing. You've got to let all yesterdays go. You've just got to let them go. Innocence is to let every moment go, you know? So if you're letting every moment go, you've got nothing to think about. Do you understand that? You only think about what you haven't let go. If you let everything go, you don't think. That's what happens when you're truly in love. You're truly in love now, and to be truly in love now, and to be in that state, you've got to let everything go. So you don't think about anything, except perhaps to have the image of the beloved. That's all. Because love is now, not yesterday. So let them go. Now come on, stop holding on. You've got to have this one-pointed desire for it. And you can't have it if you're holding on to what was. For it is now. The thing that you love is now. And it's there, immanent in you now. It is your being. That's the thing you love. And then there's the external, isn't there? And the immanent brings about the external. If I can only love the immanent, the God within, enough, then that God within will manifest as love in some form or other outside. If it is my service to the people, to the sick, then this love of the God inside will manifest as a great hospital of sick people for me to love and give my life to. Or it will manifest as a woman, or it will manifest as a man, or it will manifest as something for me to love because I have loved it so much and it is in charge of existence. So that's why it's so important to keep acknowledging me being it inside. or it. Acknowledge me in all thy ways, and I will direct thy paths, said the Old Testament prophets. Acknowledge me in all thy ways, and I will direct thy paths. Well, there you go. You don't have to just believe me here, the speaker. They said that several thousand years ago. And here I am just saying what they said then. So acknowledge me. At every opportunity in the pause of your activities, acknowledge me. That's enough. And you will love me more and more. And I will give you my gifts of love, something to serve. Okay then, it's time for afternoon tea. Back at 3 o'clock. Thank you.